Good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. I am, of course, am Dr. Jacqueline King. And as I say, we bring amazing people to you doing amazing things. And of course, tonight will not disappoint you. I have the lovely coach, Dr. Ann Hester. How are you, Doc?
I am too blessed to complain.
I know that's right. We all are, whether we admit it or not.
Absolutely.
As you come in, let us know where you're tuning in from. And you can type your questions on the screen as we get involved. Um, and Dr. Hester I don't actually don't have your bio up in front of me. So just give them a little overview and then we'll get right into it.
Okay. I'm a physician on a mission. So I am board certified in internal medicine. I practiced for a few decades. Now I do administrative medicine, but I've always been into educating people. In medical school, I did my first book, Bridging the Gaps, African American Guide to Health Empowerment, to Health and Self Empowerment. And I've written a couple more since then. But now I am really focused on lifestyle medicine, which is a field that's like sweeping the globe, 50 different countries. We're remaking how we think about healthcare. So instead of dealing with the disease after it occurs, the focus is to prevent it or as much as possible treat it naturally.
And that is really good because we are a country that's drugged up. Would you agree?
Absolutely, positively.
And so, let me, before I get into some of these heavy questions, did you always want to be a doctor?
No, my daddy was a doctor, and he used to come into the bathroom. I would go in there for a shot time, and he would come in there after me and give me a shot. I'm like, how can you be so cruel? I'm on the potty. So I was like, no. But then I loved science. I loved helping people. And I just ended up doing what he does, what he did. He died before I made that decision.
Oh,
I loved watching what he did, and I loved the ability to make a difference in people's lives.
and what kind of doctor was he?
Family practitioner. No, actually, they
Okay.
called it GP back then. Same thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're in the field that you're in because that's what God chose for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so people often say black women are strong but stretched thin. How can we shift from pushing through to truly thriving?
The mindset is the first thing. A lot of people say, well, diabetes runs in my family, or hypertension runs my family, or cancer runs my family. The mindset needs to be that you have more control than you realize. DNA is not your destiny. Your choices are the destiny. Most of the things that happen, even if you have a genetic predisposition, you can do things to turn the switch off or on. And we call that epigenetics. So you may have a family history of a disease. You may have an increased risk for developing that disease. But what you do from day to day will determine whether or not you develop the disease, and if you do, how severe it will be. So, first of all, I would say realize that you're not helpless. Black women have never been helpless, and we're not helpless with this either. But when it comes to health, between the health disparities and the cost of medical insurance and so many things, we get really caught up. And sometimes it may feel like we're powerless, but we need to step up and take our power back.
I agree with that. And but we have so much stress. Thank you for tuning in, and I do see one of our directory people, Mothers Conquering Together. She is in. Yes, welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Share the broadcast so that we can reach other people. So we were always doing multiple things and severely stressed out because we're the cook, the person who shops, that cleans, all of that. That plays heavy on our health, right?
Huge. So I mentioned that I am now in really focused on the field of lifestyle medicine, and there are 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. whole food, plant-based diet, exercise, stress reduction, restorative sleep, connections, and toxin avoidance. And so many things are intertwined. So let's even take a look. Let's say fibroids. Okay, look at
Mm-hmm.
those 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. So stress increases cortisol, your stress hormone, that impacts the hormone levels, and it can drive the fibroids. Lack of exercise also impacts the hormones, can drive fibroids.
Mm.
Whole food plant-based diet is great because you have the cruciferous vegetables and so forth, and that can decrease the manifestation of the fibroids. But if you eat a lot of red meat, fibroids will be worse.
Mm.
Lack of sleep can
Mm-hmm.
impact your hormones and your cortisol, fibroids. And then the connections. So when you are not really connected, you don't have a lot of good social relationships, your body does not make enough of the love hormone. We call it oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
Oxytocin, that kind of buffers the cortisol. And so that's just one example of how the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine could take one condition, and when you break it down, all of those pillars can impact that. Now, specifically with stress, I read somewhere that the stress of being Black in America has resulted in over 1 million years of uh, lost life. And the amount of stress that we deal with, nobody is going to understand it unless they are doing it. But there are things that we can do to modify that. Exercise is an excellent stress reliever.
Mm-hmm.
Laughter, you know, if you laugh and they check your cortisol level goes down just by laughter. Something else that's super simple, that we call it box breathing. You know, a box has 4 equal sides. So you take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for seconds, out through your mouth, hold it for seconds. And so this cycle, you do it over and over, and that relaxes you. Something else I recently learned about that I'm loving, I'm getting more information about it. It's called tapping, Tapping. And I encourage everybody to Google that. Tapping basically is exactly what it says. There are specific parts of your body, that you tap.
Mm-hmm.
And scientific studies have found that that decreases your cortisol level. And I used to love to get my herbal tea after a long day of work, stressed, get the herbal tea. I don't do that anymore because during the day I tap. So by the end of the day and during the day, calm just comes on. Absolutely free. You can do it any place.
Mm.
Certain adaptogens. I like ashwagandha. It's spelled like ash, wag, and ha. Ashwagandha. That can relieve stress also. So there are so many natural things that we can do to bring the stress down. And when we do that, we impact our life expectancy. And again, these things I'm talking about are free or nearly free. And we have to learn how to mitigate stress, because as long as we're living up here, the life expectancy is down here. Once we
Mm-hmm.
get control of that, then we can cut back on some of the diseases that take our lives so quickly.
Yes, I want to say a shout out to Leandra King and Suzanne Rachel. I can't say your first name is on, and we have California in the house and Cameroon.
Wow.
Um, one of the guests says that they're going through menopause, and let me tell you what. I've been there, done that. When I got a T-shirt, but there's so many women. One of my best friends is having a real hard time with it. Talk about that.
I'm going to go back to the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. A whole food plant-based diet that can impact your estrogen levels, and it can help relieve a lot of the symptoms that you're having, because we're talking about, the hormone imbalance. So when you have a whole food plant-based diet, your hormones get to be more aligned. When you exercise regularly, your stress goes down, your hormones are better aligned. When you sleep well, your hormones are better. So again, those 6 pillars, they cover everything. And I'm not saying that if tomorrow you adopt all of them, you're not going to have any more symptoms. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we know that even when it comes to menopause, people who follow these 6 pillars can have fewer symptoms.
Wow. Marilyn from Texas, thank you so much. Kate Ambieta, she is in. Uh, but anyway, uh, so tell me, should people just stop eating meat altogether?
Well, red meat should be rare or none. I mean, we know that red meat is actually classified as a carcinogen. That means it can promote cancer. And so I'm a vegetarian. I gave up meat a few years ago. And the hardest part to me is when I used to go to Jamaica and I couldn't have the jerk chicken. But at this point, I mean, my body has gotten so used to it. My taste buds have gotten so used to the things I do differently. I don't miss it at all. I don't even like touching meat for my family. And they don't eat red meat. But I would absolutely say red meat should be a rarity. Let's say that you want something that my son, who's a vegetarian, told me about recently. Um, Mushroom bacon. It sounds nasty, but it tastes really good. I mean, there is something for everything. I mean,
Where you get that?
everything.
Where do you get that at?
I
I
get it
never
from
heard of it.
Roots. It's a Whole Food store called Roots.
Yeah, there's one in Greensboro, but
Okay.
we don't have one here.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm sure you can get it other places because it's not a Roots brand, but the organic mushroom bacon, you can get all sorts of sausages. I love Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has these breakfast sausages. I will drive to another city to go to Trader Joe's because we don't have one here to
We
get
have one
those.
here.
Well, you're lucky. I mean, it's maybe a half an hour away, but it's worth the drive. But if you get used to, just slowly do it. Don't try to jump off the deep end immediately. Just gradually make changes. What I like to tell people is to create SMART goals. We often do it for work and other things, but create SMART goals for your health. And for those who don't really know what they are, S is specific. Specifically, I want to decrease red meat. M is measurable. I want to go from 7 servings a week to 1 serving a week. A is achievable. It is. Just don't buy it. And a lot of things you can do to substitute it. R is relevant. It's extremely relevant to your health. T is time bound. So say, I'm going to do this for 1 week, see how I feel, and take it from there. So I strongly encourage people to create mini habits, do SMART goals. And after you get one down pat, go on to the next, or you can even overlap them. But it is really important to look at the diet because we know people who eat red meat, oh my gosh, processed meat is another carcinogen. It can promote cancer. Those things, there's something better for you, and there's something that can add to your life and not take it away. But again, we have to make our own decisions. My goal is to educate, and then you decide. I mean, you can tell a person all day long, cigarette smoking can kill you, but they have to be the one to make that decision.
When you say processed meat, what do you mean? What? Give me some examples.
Sausages, pepperoni, most bacons, things that are not fresh. Like if you get a slab of salmon, no, that's not a processed meat. If you get, there's this mystery burger in the freezer section that has all these chemicals and you can't even read them, it's pretty processed. And so basically, if you read the labels, some things that are frozen, they're going to have everything in there that you're going to be getting. Go as natural as possible. I tell my kids all the time when they try to to sneak in candy and stuff because you're going to glow in the dark. I mean, this, if somebody created this in a laboratory, just imagine yourself as the guinea pig. And we know that the more processed food you eat, the lower your life expectancy because it impacts everything from your brain function, heart disease risk, cancer risk, diabetes. I mean, all of it. God has given us so many healing foods, but often we like the fast food model. It's easier. It makes life better, so to speak, until you develop all these diseases and you're spending a ton of money on medical bills. And so you really want to stay away from all of these things. So be as close to nature as possible.
Tanya, welcome, Tanya. And she said sandwich meat. Let's see. Leandra says for a few months ago, a doctor told her to lower her stress level. Honestly, as I walked out and I felt like he was talking a foreign language. I was thinking, I have no idea how.
Well, one of the best things for stress is exercise. I mean, exercise releases endorphins, and endorphins make you feel good immediately. So I work at home, and I know a lot of people do as well. And I got an under the desk treadmill. So while I'm working on the computer, I have one of those desks that you can lift up, and I put the treadmill underneath the desk. And while I'm typing, I'm on the treadmill. And so you can do that at any time. I put on my tennis shoes and, I may run in place at the treadmill. At the desk while I'm doing things. And so there's so much that you can do, whether you exercise in the morning, before work or during your lunch break or whatever the case may be. Exercise, that is an immediate booster. It decreases stress immediately. It makes you feel better. It helps you live longer. That's a wonderful side effect. But also, as I mentioned, the box breathing, you can do that driving down the street, the tapping, different places you tap. And I encourage you to Google that. It works. I used to think that it was, hocus pocus when I first was told about it. It's real. They have peer-reviewed scientific proof that this works. And I can attest to the fact that that is a very simple thing you can do every day, multiple times a day, to bring your stress down. And they even have scientific study that showed that when you tap, your blood cortisol level goes down. And that is a real marker of your stress level. So they have proof that your cortisol decreases. Cortisol, linked to diabetes, linked to obesity, linked to heart disease, linked to all sorts of things. Proof that it goes down just by tapping. You can't beat that with a baseball
So now,
bat.
show us again how to tap.
Okay.
What are you doing?
So there are certain places here. This is one place over here. Actually, you start at your forehead. You can tap here, here, under your eye, under your nose, your chin, and then like right near your breastbone. And then if you lift your arm up, just on the side, like right beside your breast. And you do that for a couple of minutes, and you do that multiple times a day. Let me tell you how powerful this is. They went to Rwanda, and they took some of these adults who watched their parents slaughtered with machetes, who had PTSD, and they took them through detailed tapping. And a lot of them no longer had PTSD. They didn't score high enough to be classified as PTSD anymore. One lady said, I still have the memory, but it doesn't hurt like it did. Another example, vets. It was either Vietnam, I think it was the Vietnam vets. PTSD. They went in and they did programs with the tapping. And when it was all over, I think 47% of vets who watched people get slaughtered no longer scored high enough to have the diagnosis of PTSD. That
Wow.
is powerful.
Wow. Hmm. So, someone says they're already over there tapping. Uh, Amelia says, I've heard shopping and outer rims of the grocery store. Is that true?
Absolutely. Because the periphery, the outer part, is where you're going to find your fruits and your vegetables. And then you keep walking around, you're probably going to run into the meat section. You can pick up your salmon and your chicken breast, avoid the steak, and you keep walking. You're probably going to get to the section that you're going to find like the milk. I prefer soy milk, particularly vanilla soy milk is wonderful. Almond milk. And so the periphery is going to be where you're going to find the least processed foods. But once you get into the intersections, you're going to have the chips. You're going to have, the Franken foods. You're going to pick up the container. And you're not going to be able to read this stuff because they put so many chemicals in there. And it's important to understand. A lot of food scientists, they get paid big bucks because they've figured out how to create foods with just the right combination of salt, sugar, fat, and junk chemicals that go to the same pleasure centers of the brain as those stimulated by sex and opiates and lovely music.
Mm,
Literally, these foods can be addictive because once you eat them, signals go to the brain and you like how you feel. So you keep eating them. You keep getting more and more diseases. And then Big Pharma comes in. I have a pill for that. And so we need to realize that we're being played like a piano. Advertisers are telling us you need all this junk food. Yes, you're going to get sick, but it tastes good going down. And then Big Pharma says, don't worry about it. I've got you covered. $500 a month. Side effects, boom, 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 could kill you. But don't worry about that. You probably won't die. So we need to get back to nature. God gave us so much healing. And we need to get away from the advertisements, the ease, the fast food, back to the natural things. And then we can heal naturally.
so let's talk about our tradition because the holidays coming up. We gonna have our ham hocks and uh, chitlins and ham and all of that stuff. So, how can we keep the flavor in our nutrition? I mean, because that's what we grew up on, and
I
that's what we
know, I
love.
know. And my husband, he was the same way. Um, I remember I smelled grandmother's chitlins once down in Flint, Alabama, and that didn't work for me. But the ham hocks and so on. When you cook greens, if you want the meat, get a smoked turkey neck. That still gives you a lot of flavor. It's still, the smoking is not good for you, but if you compare, I'd rather have a piece of turkey than a ham hock. Also, cook with lots of spices. You can use fresh spices. Olive oil is good. I mean, for me in my house, honestly, we have a lot of people have salt and pepper on the table. We have Frank's house sauce on the table. That is a staple in our house. You don't want to have too much because of the sodium, but there are so many things that you can do. Get in the habit of testing things, learning new things. Something else you can do. I love to cook with vanilla Greek yogurt. You can use that instead of butter. My daughter, she's home now, so I've got to be quiet. I made what I call a breakfast cake the other day. There's nothing in it but oatmeal, bananas, chopped up apples, um, the Greek yogurt, and vanilla. That's it. And the Greek yogurt, particularly vanilla Greek yogurt, adds flavor too, but the Greek yogurt instead of butter makes it so moist that my 16-year-old is having this for breakfast. She won't eat oatmeal. And I haven't told her everything in it, But the important thing is there are substitutions for almost anything. And so you need to just take the time to learn about options. Honestly, I got the recipe from ChatGPT. I put in
Oh,
what I wanted. I
wow.
said, give me a recipe, Bing. And I had my recipe full of healthy food for free. So give it a try.
Mm. Okay. So what can women do to feel more heard and respected during their doctor's visits? Because a lot of times the doctor will just, I mean, they're on a schedule. You even forgot what you was going to say because they're like, okay, next.
Absolutely. So I wrote a book. It's called Patient Empowerment 101. More than a book, it's an adventure. And it goes into this in detail. And it's available on Amazon. But some of the key parts of this book deal with just that because, time is going by. We did not do a good job educating people on how to talk to us. They have no idea, but we didn't either before we went to medical school. And so, how you can get your doctor to sit up and pay attention is to prepare before every visit. Don't go in and sit on the examining room table cold because your flimsy gown is coming off, mad because the doctor's an hour behind again, and then try to pull everything together because you're going to be, and I think he's going to say, okay, time's up. Let me order this test, try this drug, come back to see me if it doesn't work. Bye. Develop a 2-minute elevator speech. Think through what's going on. For instance, the location. Don't go in and say, I have belly pain. We don't know what that means. Use your finger, point to where your belly hurts. If it's the upper right, the lower left, wherever, when you get ready to go into the doctor, be exact. Don't say I have chest pain. We could be dealing with heartburn. We could be dealing with an impending heart attack, all sorts of things. So be as specific as possible. Let the doctor know, does anything make it better? Does anything make it worse? What have you tried? And then you went to rate the severity on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being mild, 10 being severe. Doctor, when I get this pain, it's, a 10, baby. A 10 is childbirth. So, if you go in and say it's a 10 and you're texting, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So think through what you're going to say, the severity, things that make it better or worse. If you say I have chest pain and it gets worse when I eat spicy foods, the doctor's going to be thinking about indigestion. If you say I have chest pain that's brought on by walking 2 miles, walking a block, the doctor's going to be more concerned about your heart. So think through what you're doing. I actually went through this algorithm, with a lady I work with, and she ended up in the ER within a few weeks. And she pulled out this stuff on her phone. She took notes, she pulled it out. And at the end of the visit, the doctor said they diagnosed her kidney stones, treated her, sent her home. At the end, the doctor said, are you in healthcare? I'm not used to patients talking to me that way. And she just kind of laughed. But we have so much potential power. It's just we need the tools to really blossom. And so if you go in and it's clear that you don't know what's going on, you're going to be treated that way. If you go in respectfully aggressive, respectfully saying, letting him know, I understand my body, I know what's going on, not in an argumentative way, but come across as the partner in your healthcare. Because doctors love people who will partner with them. They don't want people who try to take control, and they don't have the time for people who have no idea what's going on. Prepare, just like you prepare for a job interview before every visit.
Is it okay to take like a notepad or have it listed?
Absolutely.
So because I mean, you get my age, you get in there and you forget everything.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, go in with some notes, right?
Yes, and let me give you this. I have this little algorithm, CCL Stadium, C context. What were you doing? What's the context? Um, okay, we'll go through most of these. 1C is the context. So if you go and you say, I have back pain, and it started after I lifted heavy furniture, he's not going to get an MRI looking for cancer of your spine. L, location. I told you to be specific. S, the other part is stadium. S is severity. T is timing. Each time it happens, how long is the last? Seconds, minutes, hours of day. A deals with the associated signs and symptoms. When I have chest pain, I break out in a sweat. I have nausea. The doctor's going to be thinking, let me call 911. D, the duration. How long does it last? In the stadium, mnemonic, I and you have nothing to do. They're part of the mnemonic. And M is modifying factor. So just remember that. So when you go in, and if you're in the doctor's waiting room and you go through this in your head, when you sit down and talk to the doctor, you go through it just like that. And you can say, okay, in his mind, I don't need to order A, B, C, D, and E because she's already told me that's not what it is. Let me focus on these things. And so absolutely make yourself notes. Ask the doctor to be specific. You don't want to tell a doctor, I have a kidney problem. You come and see a doctor, I have a kidney problem. I don't know what that means. There are many kidney problems. Be specific. If you can't spell your diagnosis, ask the doctor or the nurse to write it down. Hopefully they'll give you an after visit sheet with the diagnosis typed up. But if not, ask. Know exactly what's going on.
Okay, let's talk about your PTR reset. What does that stand for, and how does this approach help women prevent, treat, and even potentially reverse common diseases?
Okay. PTR reset, you just said it. It helps you prevent, treat, and even potentially reverse diseases. And it's all based on the pillars of lifestyle medicine. I have the trademark pending on the PTR reset. And really, the mindset is what we've talked about. These 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, they can do a tremendous amount. And so the PTR reset, I do coaching. I have a couple of PTR reset courses on my Patient World platform. And at the end, I'll tell you, I have a coupon code if anybody wants to get one, half off. So let me give you an example. Women who follow a whole food plant-based diet are less likely to develop breast cancer than those who eat red meat and eat all the other things. Women who follow this diet and they develop breast cancer and is treated are less likely to have recurrence of the breast cancer. Women who follow this diet who have breast cancer that is not ultimately curable live longer. That's one of the 6 pillars. The same for prostate cancer. And so we know, in diabetes, we now know how to get a lot of people off of their pills, sometimes off of the insulin, reverse the painful nerve damage that's associated with diabetes. This is built on over 50 years of research into all of these things. The American Medical Association in 2017 put out a resolution saying, doctors, you need to learn lifestyle medicine and apply it because the data, the research is that powerful. And today, I think I'm like one of maybe 0.4% of doctors in the country, if that many, are board certified in lifestyle medicine, because it's a completely different mindset. I went to medical school, anatomy. This is the physiology. This is the disease. This is the pill you take. This is the surgery. Goodbye. And now we know, instead of going down that route, there are things we can do so that we don't get these diseases in the first place. And if we do, there's a strong chance that we can, if we cannot completely reverse it, decrease the medication we need with it because we're following these pillars. So the PTR reset basically is about empowering people to prevent, treat, and reverse diseases naturally.
Awesome. And why do you believe lifestyle medicine and programs like PTR are the future health for Black women everywhere?
There are multiple reasons. Number one, the things that I mentioned, the health disparities between the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the breast cancer, all of those things, we don't fare as well as a lot of other women do. If there is an absolutely free tool that can change our health trajectory from here to here and is not costing us anything, Why wouldn't we take advantage of it? Also, with the cost of healthcare rising the way it is, the cost of prescription drugs rising, with all of these things going on, the perfect storm, we know that there are things that we can do that we don't have to follow the path. We don't have to say, okay, I'm doomed to this. We don't do that. Black women don't do that. We just need the right tools. We need to understand what science has known for decades about ways to prevent, treat, and reverse these things. Not only can we decrease our healthcare expenses, we can decrease the likelihood we end up in the hospital. We can teach our children how to follow these pillars. My kids know we go to the grocery store to pick up something, it has a chemical, they'll put it back down. I'm training my kids early to have that mindset. And so we as Black women, it is our responsibility, as it has always been loving our families, to learn and reach back and empower our communities and our children, because we're not going to have high quality health care the way we want it in the coming years. A lot of people are going to be priced out of the insurance market. And going to the hospital in an emergency when taking one pill a day could have prevented it, or preventing high blood pressure or the diabetes in the first place could have prevented it. And you're sitting in a waiting room with a ton of people. You may or may not be seen. You may or may not be seen in a timely manner. So just imagine this tsunami. We've all seen those pictures of how the water rolls back, and then there's this gush of water that absolutely destroys everything in its path. Now we're at the water being rolled back stage. We know what's going on. We know what to expect. We know what the future holds. We need to get out of the way before that gush of water comes in and destroys us en masse.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is really great, and I'm really excited that we had this time together. Dr. Ann is also in the directory. She does blogs. She's going to be building up her page. You can get in contact with her there. What are the other ways they can reach you?
If they go to patientworld.net, I think you have to put in the whole thing, https www.patientworld.net. You scroll to the bottom, there's a contact form. So you can reach out to me there. Contact me if there's anything on the site that you really want to take. Let me know, and I'll send you a coupon code. But I've already developed a coupon code called BWE50 for the 2 PTR Reset courses. So BWE50 for 50% off of the 2 PTR Reset courses on there now. And if anybody wants to take the course like on heart disease or obesity or any of the other things, just message me and I'm happy to give you a code for that too.
And I would suggest that you put that information in your bio on the directory.
Okay.
That way, anybody that's going to your page, they'll be able to see that. That is blackwomenempowereddirectory.com. And then you can put in Dr. Hester's name, and she'll automatically come up. I'm sure her website and all of her information is on there. She has blogs and videos and all of that. So, Dr. Ann, and we're working on some stuff. We're gonna keep it under wraps. We're working on some stuff where she can come back to you and share more information. Is there anything that you want to say in closing?
What I'd like to say in closing is, having been at the bedside for decades, having seen so many people suffer and die unnecessarily, the ability to take control on our own. And I'm not saying do this on your own without your doctor. Never stop your medicine without your doctor. But the power that we have at our fingertips is not something that I imagined. I literally sat with my jaw dropping when a doctor who taught me about this, she was doing a course for the patient empowerment, for the patient world website. I was like, why didn't I know this? Doctors don't know this. Again, I'm among less than 1% of doctors in the country board certified in this. We have so much potential. God has given us so much healing power. And I just really encourage everyone to realize that we are being played by food manufacturers and drug companies. They're getting rich when we're dying earlier. We need to turn the tide on that. We need to take control and empower ourselves and our communities. And I thank you so much. It was such an honor and blessing to be here. I want
Well,
to thank everybody for taking the time.
this isn't your last time. So thank you so much for taking time. I know that you have a busy schedule, and I'm sure that the ladies, the men appreciate. We'll come back and talk about some other things. I like to touch on men and prostate cancer and stuff like that as well. There's a ton of topics, and then with the 400,000 plus women who have just recently lost their jobs. That's insurance. And they're talking about the Affordable Health Care Act. I don't know if it's going to be eliminated or not, but that's what the word is. And so, you have to come up with a way to stay alive,
God
right?
gave it to us. We just need
Right.
to utilize it.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Please share the broadcast. That's what we do so that those who weren't here would be able to see it. Plus, we're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and we will be rerunning this broadcast over the weekend. So, Dr. Ann, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And until the next time, you guys know I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And continue to follow us. God bless.
The Black Women Empowered Directory offers excellent opportunities for networking due to several key factors. Community of like-minded individuals. See, the directory brings together a community of Black and brown women who share common goals, interests, and experiences. Networking within this community provides a unique opportunity to connect with individuals who understand and support each other's aspirations and challenges. Within our directory, you'll find Black and brown women from diverse professional backgrounds, including entrepreneurship, corporate leadership, nonprofit organizations, and more. This diversity opens up a wealth of networking opportunities, allowing members to tap into a wide range of expertise, resources, and connections. While we're open to most businesses, we focus on the underserved. Don't delay. Join the Black Women Empowered Directory today at blackwomenempowereddirectory.com.